This is the story of a high school student named Baki Hanma, who makes the whole school tremble. One day, Mitsunari Tokugawa, the owner of an underground wrestling championship, comes to his school and tells him that some dangerous criminals in Tokyo, they are coming to beat you. Just a few days ago, the world's most dangerous prisoner, Dorian, had died by hanging silently on a death trial. But as soon as a doctor came to confirm his death, he came alive and killed all the police officers. And before leaving, he wrote there, "I am coming to Tokyo to taste the defeat." And he escaped from that prison by sea. Not only this, there are still 4 more left. In Carious Prison in Scotland, a prisoner named Doyle was given shock therapy as a punishment. But that man survived that death trial, and after eliminating all the police officers, he flew in a military plane to our Tokyo. Police have come to know that he has escaped from there by climbing the 100-meter prison wall, which is impossible for any common man, and what's more, he has also killed Garland, Russia's best wrestler. This was something else. Apart from these, there are 3 more. One has escaped from there in a submarine 200 meters below the sea by killing all the police officers like dogs, and the other, Ryo Yanagi, has escaped from the prison by breaking a bulletproof glass. And a strange thing. The thing was that all those prisoners had left behind the same message, which was, "I want to taste defeat." Undead criminals charged with 5 murders who left behind the same message while running away. Do you know what it means? Friends, this means that all of them are coming to Tokyo to defeat Baki Hanma because Baki is the champion of underground wrestling. Now the next day Sikorsky fitted one of them, a very famous kickboxer named Prisoner Rob, in his body. He kills him with a razor, and some goons ask his classmate about Baki and say, "Oi, call that Baki, he is very powerful. We have heard that today we will have a fight with him," fearing that Teichi man goes to Baki. And taking him with him, he is introduced to those goons. One of them comes forward to kill him with a knife, but then he sees a flashback that the rest has already punched him on the face, although he has not even moved from his place. By now he freezes in fear of the rest and defeats the remaining goons by using their special weapons on them. But then the rest sees a 9 feet tall man standing behind his classmate on this side. There is chaos in the police department. Dorian Searcy, Doyle Speck, and Ryoku Yanagi have escaped from prison together when an officer arrives and tells them that citizens in the city have seen a man crush one of our police vans with his bare hands. And today I came to know that this work was done by Speck, one of those 5 criminals. Now the scene shifts to the same guy who has come in front of him to kill the others. To show off, that guy shoots bullets in his own mouth and says, "I am the strongest man in Tokyo. Are you the Baki Hanma? Friend, I want to experience defeat. Will you support me?" And as soon as he shakes hands with him, his hand falls down. Seeing this, the rest of the guy gets torn. He starts beating the rest like dogs and says, "Pick up that hand. Pick up hand." After some time, the police come there and arrest Speck. An officer says, "Sir, Officer Canada's hand is lying here." Hearing this, the rest become interested, and we learn that this hand belonged to a police officer who was killed by Speck. Speck goes to Baki and tells him that this was just the beginning and we will meet again very soon. Baki Nama. After this, we get Yuichiro Hanma, Baki's father. It is shown that he is considered to be the strongest creature in the world. Everyone from police to politicians are afraid of this guy. On this side, he meets Shibukawa of Ryoku, who invented Shibukawa-style Zu despite being 70 years old. This man can defeat anyone with his Aiki technique. On the other hand, Speck is resting in jail, and a senior inspector asks him to keep a close watch on him. He goes to the toilet but sees Speck next to him. The inspector is urinating according to the bucket, and the inspector says, "Oi, what are you doing here?" Speck says, "Oh yes, I came here to washroom." "Oh yes, eat these buns. These are very crispy," he says. "I am treating you well. No, eat it quietly," and that kills that inspector as well as the rest of the police. Now we are shown the founder of Katsumi Roki Shinshin, a karate style whose nickname is Lethal Weapon, and his father's name is Dappo Orochi, and this is Keo Retsu, a genius of the Chinese camp of fighting style who has almost defeated the rest in the Bar Maximum tournament. He is lecturing his students when Dorian comes there and tells him, "Excuse me, I have to meet Master Doppo Orochi." Now inside Shinkai Academy, Dorian meets Master Doppo, and having arrived to meet him, he asks Katsumi to introduce him to them, but Katsumi asks him to take off his shoes first. Dorian takes off his shoes and gives Katsumi a strong kick, gouging out his eyes and threatening to kill him. He tries to kick Katsu, but Dorian kills him by throwing a piece of wood in his neck and tells him, You and I seem to have enough strength. Now I have to meet Master Dopo, and Dorian starts to walk away. But then Keiretsu comes there and tells him that if you have the guts to take on someone equal to you, then fight me. And Dorian, seeing him, starts crying while being dramatic and pulls out a hair from his nose and hits Keiretsu. Tries to hit him in the eyes, but he escapes from his attack. Good boy then try to avoid him. Now he starts spitting fire at him and dodging them and runs away from there. On the other hand, there is a fitness test in the rest of the school. He is running, and in a 400-meter race, he is running the fastest, defeating everyone else, due to which there are holes in the ground, and even in the long jump, he crosses the cross line, which all the students are surprised to see. His teacher does not understand how he is so strong, and while doing pull-ups, he breaks the rest of the pull-up bar, due to which his teacher gets very angry at him because he does not complete even a single test properly. He had been able to do it till now, and his scores were very low. So he asks his teacher that if he breaks the world record of 1,500 meters race, will they pass him? In this test, his teacher tells him to run 1,500 meters in 3 minutes. There is a record of 26 seconds. How will you be able to break it? But Baki says, sir, trust me, I will do it. Baki takes off his clothes and gets ready for the race. The race starts, and Baki is the best in the race in the beginning itself. He goes ahead, but then he gets muscle cramps, due to which he comes to the last position in the end, but after seeing the talent of the rest, the teacher passes him. On this side, he meets Tsunari Kanji Igari, who had finished second in the maximum tournament. Had almost defeated Circe, and then Circe comes there and attacks him, and an ambulance takes him away, and Mitsunari takes Circe with him and leaves from there. Meanwhile, in the police station, Spec sings "I'll be back soon." A leaflet is posted outside his cell, and Mitsunari and Seeker come to a place and see that all the criminals have come there together. Mitsunari welcomes them and tells them that I am the owner of the stadium, and now tell me why you all have come here. Dorian tells, what kind of question is this? This is the most famous place in Japan where the best fighters of the world come. Dolly says, I do what I want, I had to come here, that's why I am here. And then Baki comes there to meet Mitsana and says, Sir, I wanted to talk to some of you. All of them notice Baki, and then Dopo Orochi and some more dangerous fighters come there. Now those 5 criminals and 5 of Tokyo's best fighters have come face to face, and this is Dopo Orochi, the real founder of Shinshin's karate style, and this is Karo Yanuma, and this is also the boss of the Yanuma gang. MIT Tsunari tells them that right at this place something a year ago there was a maximum tournament which was the most dangerous tournament in the history, and it was won by Bakinama, but this 17-year-old boy told those criminals that they did not believe what he said, and Mitsunari tried to tell him about the rules of this tournament. It seems that then this guy says, there are no rules in this, start this game right now, it does not matter where you are, with whom you are taking bath, with your GF you can fight wherever you want, start the fight between those 10 people. It's done, Baki says okay. Then I'll leave, I have homework to do as well, and saying this, Baki leaves from there. On the other hand, the inspector sees that Spec has returned to his cell. On the other hand, Dorian and Dopo have gone somewhere. Just then Keiretsu appears in front of him to take revenge from him, and Dopo Roki attacks him with a strong attack. He was already looking for an opportunity to beat Dorian. Dorian attacks him with his fire lighter, but Dopo Roki easily blocks his attack and says, haha, this is my perfect defense, which cannot be broken even by any missile. On this side, Kanji Ikari has come in front of him to take revenge from Seeker-sa and has also brought some goons with him, and they all catch Seeker-sa. We look back towards Dopo Roki. That Dorian cuts his hand with a thread. Actually, Dorian has a special lighter in which a thread thinner than a spider's web and stronger than nylon comes out. Dorian says that this thread is a miracle from the point of view of science. Magicians have been using similar threads for their tricks for a long time, and Roki understands that when he kicked him earlier, he had taken advantage of the opportunity to put the thread in his hand, but Orochi was actually used to it. During training, his hand was broken many times, and then he gives a strong punch on his face and Doria falls down on the ground. On the other side, Kanji and his friends are making a plan to kill Circe. He shoots 5 bullets, but it doesn't do anything to him. He kills his companions and Kanji surrenders and says, please let me go, but Seeker-sa doesn't listen to him and picks up a gym rod and some dumbbells and starts beating him, because of which Kanji dies. Now the scene shifts to Baki, who is roaming with his girlfriend Kozu Masamuto. The girl comes to know that Baki is a fighter. They both talk to each other. They are leaving when suddenly some goons stop their way and say to the rest, Oi, quietly give us all your money, you told me, But as soon as they look into the eyes of the others, they get tearful and they themselves leave involuntarily, and both of them they leave from there. Both of them go on a date and have a lot of fun, and while going back home, Koji holds Baki's hand, but then we see that Speck is watching Baki from behind. Now Baki is his girlfriend. After hanging out with Baki, he is going to drop her back to her house, and then Speck comes there and we see that Kozai is very worried about Baki, that you are a real fighter, your life is in danger all the time. You should take care of yourself. If I spend my life with you, I too will always be worried. Many things are going on in Kojai's mind, and then Kojai says to the rest that those with whom you fight also have families, right? He also has a wife and children. If anything happens to him, won't his wife and children hate you? And as Kasai continues to speak, Baki hugs her and tells her to just keep quiet. Now the fighters do as they wish. I have not seen anything good in the last 17 years. My dad and my mom hated me, and they always wanted me to be the strongest person in the world. I have chosen this path, and that's the end of my life. This is my aim, to defeat my dad, and if anything happens to me while walking on this path, I will not regret it at all, and if you want to come with me, then you should also be mentally prepared. And if till date I have trusted you, then it is you, Kozai. They both are talking to each other when suddenly Speck comes there, and then just as he is about to attack Baki, Baki stares at Speck. So Speck stands there as if frozen, but meanwhile Hanayama reaches there, and he grabs Speck's jaw and throws him away from Baki. He saves the lives of Baki and Kozai and says, "Your fight is with me. You stay away from the rest," and now the fight between Speck and Naima starts. Speck gives a strong kick to Naima's face. His nose starts bleeding, and now he takes off his clothes and we watch. Nareva has a very cool tattoo on her back which has many sword marks on it. The tattoo you are seeing is a symbol of the leaders of the Yanohama family, and only that person can make this tattoo, who has a lot of strength, and these burst marks on this tattoo come when Yanohama goes alone to fight with a whole gang, and after knowing this story, a fight starts between them. Speck starts attacking Naima with everything he can get his hands on. Sometimes he grabs Nahama's shoe and attacks her, and sometimes he lifts the benches, picks him up and tries to hit Naima's bag. But these minor injuries do not have much effect on Naima, and he embraces his fighting chance. Seeing this, Speck also gets very excited and says, "Very good, a long time. It's been a long time since I've met a strong opponent. After so many years, I've got a strong opponent. You're standing as comfortably as the Statue of Liberty, just like I did with the Statue of Liberty." In fact, just a short while ago, Speck had stood before the Statue of Liberty. Liberty was broken, which people are trying to put back together with great difficulty. Now I am going to do exactly the same thing again. And as soon as he said this, Speck, without breathing, starts making dangerous attacks one after the other. He is constantly throwing punches at her. Speck could hold his breath for more than 5 minutes, so he is able to attack her continuously without breathing. But Hanayama's strength was also no less. Her strength was more than that of ordinary people. That's why he is blocking all the punches of Speck by putting both his hands forward, and then as soon as Hanayama realizes that the power of Speck's punches has started slowing down a bit, he takes advantage of this opportunity. Within half a second, a powerful punch hits Speck in the face. This is such a dangerous punch that as soon as it hits his face, he goes away and wanders away. The police are shown here, who are very worried because of Speck. And they say, "Hey man, this Speck has considered our prison as a hotel. He comes whenever he wants, he goes whenever he wants. What is this?" And after spending the night, he leaves from here. "We have tried everything possible to kill him, but our bullets. I have also failed in front of him, but it doesn't matter now. Next time when he comes, see, I am going to kill him in a very dangerous way." On the other hand, Hanayama is showering strong anger on Speck's face one after the other, and Speck asks, "Yes, also, taste further. You wanted to enjoy the defeat, don't you? You are enjoying it. Now no one has the power of Naima's punch soccer. Hence, Speck's condition starts deteriorating gradually, and then suddenly, Speck accepts defeat. Hayama is very surprised to see how he accepted his defeat so easily, but we come to know that this was a trick of Speck. In fact, he has 6 cartridges in his hand which he uses to shoot Hanayama. He puts it in his mouth and closes its mouth, due to which those bullets explode, and Hanayama's jaw is almost broken in half because of that explosion, and now he is in a very bad condition, but Hanayama is saved from falling down. First he gives a strong punch on Speck's face, and Nayama emerges the winner of this fight. On the other hand, the police see that Nayama has beaten Speck badly and is holding him by the collar. The police thank Hanayama. She says that you have caught such a dangerous criminal. The police already knew Hanayama, so they respected her a lot and let her go, and as soon as Hanayama starts leaving from there and after arresting Spike, when he is made to sit in the police car, Spike attacks the policeman and kills all the police officers in no time, and then after killing all the police officer, he takes the police car in his hands and Hanayama. But he drops it and tries to attack Nayama's face with a rod, and while hitting him he says, "You had a chance to defeat me, but you missed this chance. If I am killing you, then I will kill you." If I had kept hitting him like this for a little longer, I would have been dead long ago, and then he takes out a gun and riddles Hanayama's body with bullets. Spec has no mercy on him and starts firing at Hanayama's legs. When Hanayama gets injured and falls on the ground, Spec kicks him hard in the face. I thought that Hanayama's game was about to end, but that was my misunderstanding because Hanayama was not going to die so easily. This is a bit of a joke, and then as soon as Spec took out his gun and put it in Hanayama's mouth, Hanayama, whose jaw was already broken, had holes on both sides of her mouth, and he changed the direction of the gun, and the bullet that was supposed to hit his head went out of his jaw, and then Hanayama takes advantage of this opportunity and throws Spec on the ground and starts punching him continuously in the face, and we all know Yama's punches. Seeing how much power he has in his hands, Spec puts his hands over his eyes, and Hanayama gets a little confused as to what he is going to do next, and then we see that he throws a flash grenade in front of her. The light of that flash is so bright that as soon as it falls into Hanayama's eyes, she cannot see anything. In fact, there was a stand Ned man like we play in BGM. Now Hanayama cannot see anything. He is blind, but despite not being able to see, with perfect aim, he punches Spec in the face, but Spec is also clever. And he comes out from the ground and grabs him from behind and grabs his neck and tries to break his neck bone, and then Hanayama tries to use his most dangerous technique, as I have told you that Hanayama has a lot of power in her hands, so she tries to put tremendous pressure on Spec's arm by holding him, due to which the muscles in Spec's hands start bursting, and as soon as Spec gets this, realizing that very soon his condition is going to be very bad, he tries to put a finger of his hand in Nayama's ear so that he can damage Nayama's brain. But Hanayama is so he remains on his feet even after taking damage, and Spec's neck is in Nayama's hand, and then as Nayama tries to put pressure on Spec's neck with the help of his hand, Spec very soon becomes unconscious. And he is taken to the hospital where he is being treated, and we see that Spec's condition is very bad. This is Spec's real form. A doctor explains that in fact this is Spec's real condition, this guy. His real age is 97, but earlier from his body we thought that he would be 50 years old because his muscles were very big and his age would be around 50, but we were all wrong. Now on the other hand we are shown the rest, which that a person is giving a test, and in this paper he does not write anything except his name, just like me, and then the other teacher explains to him that you should study properly. I know that you got the highest marks in the physical test. You have come, but just building your body will do nothing. Whatever work humans have done has been done not with their body but with their mind, and then the teacher goes towards the window where a person is coming towards their school from the running track. That guy breaks the window and comes into the rest of the classroom, and everyone gets very shocked after seeing him. The teacher can't believe his eyes, that how can this guy fly, and this guy is none other than him. One of the 5 criminals was Doyle, who is my favorite, and he says to the rest that, "Brother, this teacher said so much to you. If I were in your place then, brother, I would not have tolerated it, and I would have given that teacher a strong punch in the mouth." But he gives a strong punch. Seeing this, the rest starts pretending to cry and says, "I am scared. Please leave me. Don't do anything to me. You are very strong. Have you come to kill me?" And before that, Doyle attacks the others. The other gives a strong kick to Doyle's face, and a fight begins between the two. Doyle takes out a knife and gets ready to fight and says, "Great. You are only 17 years old. Yes, but you sense every danger. You know how powerful your enemy is and how to fight him, but you do not pay attention to the rest of Doyle's words and jump down from the classroom window. The purpose of his escape is the only thing that happens is that his classmates don't find out that he is an underground wrestler, because if they find out, the whole school will start fearing him, and as soon as he reaches the bottom, he passes through a boss. The one who is cutting some leaves, or should I say, is pretending, and as soon as Baki says good morning to him, that guy attacks Baki with his axe. In fact, this is not a gardener, it is Yanaki, those 5. Another one among the criminals is the most dangerous of them all, and then suddenly Yanagi starts swinging the weapons in his hand. The weapon is like a knife and has sharp thorns on both its ends. Kul Hadiali is also in danger, and Yanagi starts attacking him one after the other, and Baki finds it very difficult to dodge his attacks, and Yanagi praises Baki and says to him that your eyes are very sharp though. I have made my weapon by tying it with a rope chain, due to which its speed is very high. It happens, but you are still able to see the attack of my weapons. This is a very impressive thing. He takes out one of his weapons and holds the rest, and by tying his other weapon in a rope, he doubles his speed and says using a single weapon is easier than using 2 weapons. Now let's see, son, how you avoid my attack, and then within no time he increases his speed a lot and he attacks him and the rest. The weapon he has in his hand also cuts him from the middle, and during this fight, as soon as Yanagi tries to attack Baki with his full force, Baki takes off his shirt and that shirt becomes his weapon. Which means that both of Nagi's weapons are now useless. Meanwhile, Shibukawa comes there from behind, and as soon as he takes Nagi's name and as soon as Nagi looks back, she is filled with water. Hui hands Kate over to Yanagi, and then we see in the flashback that Yanagi had done a similar thing with Shibukawa long ago, but at that time there was hot water in his bottom, due to which both of Shibukawa's hands got burnt, and now he repeats this whole incident with Yanagi. Actually, he has come here to take revenge from her, but then we see that the water is not hot. It is cold water. This is a small joke of Shibukawa which Yanagi starts. I can't understand, and Shibukawa is laughing his mouth wide and says, brother, it was fun today, but Shibukawa uses his attack and uses Yanagi's weight and his force against him, and he's seeing this. Everyone else's mouth is left open. But Yanagi is also not going to give up so easily, and Shibukawa gets seriously injured. Now in Yanagi's hand we see a weapon which is similar to that of a lion. And then Shibukawa tells the rest that it seems that we both will have to fight it together. Because when this tournament started, we had decided that there is no rule for it. After saying this, Shibukawa, who has blood on his hands, it blows up and throws blood splatters on Nagi's face, which goes straight into his eyes, and he becomes blind for a while. Shibukawa takes advantage of this opportunity and attacks, and he also kills the others. He says, "Oi, you also help me." Both of them fight him together. Yanagi is gradually getting weak, but he is not afraid at all. While Yanagi gives a strong kick on stomach and uses his hypnotizing ability. And he calls Baki's name and asks him, "Baki, which is the most dangerous gas in the world? Pay attention to my words." Baki slowly starts getting lost in his words. He is not able to understand what is happening. Along with him, he is hypnotizing her mind, and while walking, Yanagi gets very close to the rest. Shibukawa says to her, "Oi, snap out of it, what are you doing? He will kill you, he is coming very close to you." But it seems as if Baki is in some other world, and that is, taking advantage of this opportunity, he places his gas hand near Baki's nose, due to which Baki becomes unconscious. His eyes open, and only then, on the other hand, we see a sumo wrestler lying on the bed. In fact, this guy was also attacked by a snake with the help of his poisonous gas, and because when any poisonous gas is inhaled through breath, it slowly it starts spreading throughout your body, and you will not be able to move. The same thing was happening with Baki. Because of this technique, Yanagi got this title, which was the poison. Baki is lying completely unconscious, and then Yanagi, Baki answering the question asked, he says, "I asked you which is the most poisonous gas. Then it is oxygen, because there is oxygen in the air 24 hours. Every person inhales oxygen, and if I inhale this oxygen, if I build up my strength, I will be able to defeat my opponent easily." And after saying all this, he wakes up the rest and runs away from there. Shitsunari calls all his fighters and abuses the state, them and that special person. He formally tells Baki that you will lose to Nagi. I had never even dreamed of this. Baki, my #1 fighter, lost without any rules. I am very surprised. I did not expect this from you, and after insulting all of them at the same time, he is also motivating them that martial arts does not mean that you all have to fight in one arena. It is not like that. Your enemy can come anywhere. You should always be ready. Hearing all this, Yanohama got angry. Come in, he goes and grabs Tokugawa by the collar and tells him to stop his nonsense. "Old man, we know that you are fine." Hearing this, Tokugawa also gets angry and he punches Yenhama in the face. And he says to her, "Oi, get me down, you are scaring me. Oi, get me down." He is crying and telling her that I am most sorry for losing you, because even in my dreams I could not have imagined that you or Hamama would be there. You will lose to Fudu and especially Baki. I had a lot of faith in you, but you ruined my life. Baki is listening to all these things and he feels very guilty. Baki starts leaving from there, and then as soon as he leaves the room, when the door opens, he finds Dorian in front of him, who has gasoline in his hand and a lighter in his hand. His plan is to burn all those fighters at one place before he throws the gasoline and sets it on fire. Then Sumi cuts in there. But he reaches there and takes the lighter from her hand, and after knocking Dorian down, all the gasoline falls on Dorian. Seeing this, Dorian is trembling because Katsumi is sitting on top of him with the lighter and a spark. He will die as soon as he falls. At this moment Dorian thinks that this has changed a lot from before. Katsumi mockingly says to him, "Don't be afraid. I will not set fire, otherwise there will be little difference between you and me. I am a sportsman and I am a sportsman." The spirit is still alive, and then as soon as Katsumi says all this, he throws the lighter on Dorian and Dorian's body catches fire and says, "I was just kidding. I learned all this from you only, Dorian. You are a #1 leech. Oh, you are not going to have a fair fight with you." Dopporoki says, "Well done, my son. You did a great job. Anyway, martial arts is all about winning, no matter what we have to do for it." And then Dorian stands back up. Just a little while ago his body was on fire, and as soon as he regained consciousness a huge emotion was coming out of his mouth. It seemed as if he had absorbed all the fire on his body and an emotion. Dorian becomes very excited and says, "Now who is next?" And then Doppochi comes forward and says, "Of course I will fight with you. I also have to take revenge for my cut hand from you." Then Katsumi says, "Not now, Dad. You will also get a chance, but before that my teacher wants to fight with this person whose name is Kata Kiyosumi." And then in no time he attacks Dorian. He keeps making dangerous attacks one after the other on him, and he says to Dorian, "Oh, how dare you cut off the hand of a martial arts legend, aren't you ashamed? Are you even listening to me?" Dorian is ignoring his words. Katsumi says, "Looks like your ears are of no use. No, maybe you don't hear well, let me cut your ears, the whole issue will end." And as soon as he says this, he cuts Dorian's ears with his own hand. In fact, he has a thin string in his hand. Duppo uses this weapon to cut off his ear. Rocky says, "I will show you what karate really is," and as soon as he says this, he gives a tremendous kick. All three of them are talking to Dorian when suddenly Dorian takes advantage of this opportunity and uses his invisible string to tie Katsumi and his teacher to that string, and then just as he is about to cut them into pieces, Doppo and Uchi use their hands to cut the string. Dorian is surprised to see that I have the strongest and thinnest string in the world, and this guy broke it with his own hand. How can this happen? This string is so strong that it can even stop a helicopter. So how did this guy break it? And as we know that Doppo and Roki have very strong hands, Dorian takes out a grenade from his mouth, and as soon as he throws the pin of the grenade, he disappears from there with a loud bang. But they do not cause much damage to them, and they all save Tokugawa's life, and Dorian, with the help of a pipeline, reaches down into the gutter, saving his life, where he has also placed a bed of his own to sleep. And there is also a very good place to practice fighting, which means that he likes to stay underground, and as he is listening to music peacefully with headphones, Katsumi follows him there and tells Dorian, "You can't run away from me, baby." Dorian looks at him and says, "You are not that person." Kazumi asks him why he chose this place. Dorian tells him that in his childhood, when his family was attacked by the army, they used to go underground and build a tunnel. He used to save his life by making this. He has known this place since childhood and used to come to this tunnel often to save his life. Shami says that I am very sad to hear this sad story of yours, and while saying this he tries to hit Dorian with a strong kick, but Dorian dodges his kick and suddenly comes to his left side and hits him with a strong punch on his face and says, "I told you, you are not him who can defeat me." And then as soon as Dorian punches me and makes me fall on the ground, he breaks the bottle of liquor which he was drinking a while ago, and after applying grease on his hands, he places the pieces of that bottle on that person, sticks it on grease, and now his hand has been transformed into a weapon. And then as soon as the fight starts between them, Katsumi picks up the drum lying behind him and throws it on Dorian's face, but this time Dorian is quite dangerous. He is fighting in a manner and easily blocks his drum attack, and it is going to be very difficult to defeat Katsumi in real life. Now here is going to be a life and death fight. He tries to attack Dorian, but he has the pieces of the bottle in his hand, with the help of which he cuts Katsumi's leg. Kasuma understands that Dorian's tags are now as if someone is wearing armor with spikes, and any direct attack on it would be dangerous. And then Dorian tells him that there is no life in your punch, go and learn it from Dopporochi first, he knows real karate. Hearing this, he understands that Dorian is poking him, he wants to reduce my morale. But he says no problem, when I win this fight, even Dopporochi will be proud of me, and the first part of this series ends here. So guys, this was today's video, and if you want its next part then comment below. I will definitely let me know, but see you in the next part.